Hell, even if Ben Simmons could give me what Tony Roten gave us.
The following podcast is part of the Underdog Sports Podcast Network. For advertising information or to find more great podcasts, visit us at www.theunderdogsports.com and follow us on Twitter at RealTheUnderdog.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Atlantic Files, the number one podcast on the number one division in the NBA, brought to you by the Underdog Sports Podcast Network, joined by your hosts, Alex Fishbein and Mike Bash is back, baby. He's back in the co-host seat. What's going on, Mike?
What's going on, Alex? It's a pleasure to be back.
I'm glad to have you back, man. It's been a while, and we got a lot to talk about because both of our teams have been eliminated much earlier than everyone and even us expected.
We were expecting a clash in the conference finals, and we didn't even get close.
Seriously. And I mean, I had you guys get into winning the finals this year, which I mean, a lot of people did once you got James Harden. But let's start with your series with Milwaukee. We obviously, your whole series with Boston was pretty much a breeze through, a gentleman's sweep, pretty easy. But then you get to Milwaukee, and obviously suffered some injuries, but I mean, what happened there?
I mean, you put it best. The injuries really, at the end of the day, is what killed us. Kyrie going down because Giannis wanted to be a dirty player and undercut him for no reason. And then James Harden having, the hamstring troubles. KD did everything he could. He stayed healthy. That was great. But it was too much to overcome. And the biggest injury, I think, that hurt the Nets from beating Milwaukee wasn't James Harden, wasn't Kyrie Irving. It was LaMarcus Aldridge retiring in the middle of the year because we had nobody that could stop Brook Lopez. And I don't mean that Brook Lopez had 35 points a night, because he didn't. But how many times did Brook Lopez get a back tap or a offensive rebound and kick out or just was able to block a shot down low like we saw KD at the end of the game? Brook Lopez, who I loved as a net, completely changed the series for them. It killed us. We had no size down low. We had no one to protect the rim. And not that LaMarcus Aldridge was a rim protector, but he was somebody who was 6'11", who would at least be able to help with rebounds and
at least a body.
Yeah, at least a body. I mean, Claxton is the same kind of size, but he can't shoot the ball, at least not yet. So on offense, he's not going to, even if he's at the three-point line, he's not a threat. Yeah, he could probably make it like 25% of the time, but he's not a threat out there. And that's why they didn't play DeAndre Jordan. Because if DeAndre Jordan's on the court, yeah, he's a body, but he can't space the floor. So I think at the end of the day, even if we had KD and half a Harden, or KD and Irving and no Harden, but we had LaMarcus Aldridge, we wouldn't have won the series. But the fact that we had nobody that was 6'11", 7 feet to get rebounds, to just be a presence down there, that's ultimately what hurt us. And I think that's their biggest need going into the offseason. And my guy, Joe Harris, I love him. He had many opportunities to win the series. He had an opportunity in game 3 when we were up 83-80 to hit or 83-82 to hit a wide open mid-range jumper and would have given us a 3-point lead. He didn't make it. We had another opportunity in game 7. I think it was like 111-111 or 106 I forget what the score was. Wide open rotation 3 from Blake Griffin, and he hits front rim. It was a brutal time to have a cold stretch, and it's unfortunate. I was hoping for an NBA championship this year. I think we're still a good shot to win it next year, and just depending on what happens in free agency and the draft, trades, whatever. But it sucks to not win, but it's still a good time to be a Nets fan. Still an exciting time to be a Nets fan.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as far as everyone knows, you guys still have 3 of the best offensive players in the league. So, I mean, it really, next year you still return as probably a top 3 title favorite.
Yeah, I would think so. And I think, I think Blake Griffin will be back. I think they're going to use Spencer Dinwiddie as a sign and trade, and I have some ideas that I can get to later. I think that the roster as it's constructed, I mean, I hate to say we're a piece away with 3 stars. We're not really a piece away. We're like a body away. If we can get a piece, great. But if we can get a body, that's, if Nick Claxton could hit 30, if Nick Claxton can shoot at the Giannis level, 34% or 32% or whatever it was, 20, 20, low 30s, we could put him on the court to space the floor. But we're close, and everyone healthy next year. I think we're the favorites. We're right up there.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I always thought, throughout the whole season that DeAndre Jordan would be kind of unplayable come the playoffs, just because he's not even the defensive rim stopper or anything that he used to be. So when it comes to, what is he giving you on the court? I mean, he's not really going to give you all that much. He might have gotten a couple rebounds against Brook Lopez, but at the same time, that's not worth all the negatives he would be on there. However, I do want to give the Brooklyn Nets a lot of credit for that pickup of Mike James. Because although I'm not saying he's an all-star or anything like that, but hey, the man came in from the bench and actually delivered some quality minutes. I know he didn't play in the last couple games or whatever it may be, but personally, I thought that was a decent pickup for your bench squad. And I think that with what he had this year, if they do decide to keep him, I think he could build on that.
Yeah, I liked Mike James. I think he played well in game 1 and 2, but I mean, everyone played well. He kind of got a little shooter happy. He fell in love with his shot too much. He overplayed his role in a way. I'm fine. I think they signed him to a guaranteed deal anyway, or I don't know if it's a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal. So he'll be back, or hopefully he'll be back. But yeah, he's fine as a bench point guard. I mean, it would have been great to have Spencer Dinwiddie, who couldn't come back in time. But no, I was fine with Mike James. And just to break some news to you, the Detroit Pistons have won the NBA draft lottery. So the top 3 picks in the draft will be Detroit, Houston, and the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Wow. So Toronto got 4th.
Yes.
Okay. So that means Cade is going to Detroit then.
It's very possible. Most likely.
I mean, honestly, if they don't pick Cade, I feel sorry for all Detroit fans.
Yeah, I mean, they got to pick Cade. Him and who's the French guy? Killian Hayes. Well, I guess the backcourt of the future. But let's get back to the Atlantic Division. I just wanted to give you some breaking news. Yeah, I think the Nets made some good signings. I think the Nets, made they set themselves up where it wasn't an all-in 1 year and blow it up type situation. I think the window has still got another 2 years on it. KD showed he is the best player in the world. Bar none. He's better than LeBron now. I know Giannis is a really great player, but Giannis to me, I don't want to call him a fraud, but you have a rim protector in there, and Giannis is not putting up the numbers he put up against the Nets in that series. Because he can't shoot, and he has no moves. He just backs up and tries to run over you. That's all he's got. And if the referees ref the game and looked at the jersey in the front, not the jersey in the back, and didn't give him calls because he's a reigning MVP or 2-time MVP, whatever it is, that series is completely different. But they called so many. First off, the guy gets 14 seconds to shoot a free throw. And on top of that, he has to walk all the way back to half court so he can catch his breath. Then he comes here, he does his little, let me practice. And then he gets the ball, and then he has to take 3 deep breaths and dribble it 6 times. I can make a coffee in the Keurig machine faster, and he shoots 1 free throw. And, if he didn't get all these calls, the series is over in 5. If we're healthy, the series is over in 5. Giannis, he's lucky he's 6'11" and not 6'7", because if he was 6'7", the whole family would still probably be in Greece.
No, it's true. And I was actually thinking about it. I was like, versus Ben Simmons for a free throw, I'm like, they probably both miss it, but at least Ben Simmons just goes faster.
Well, it's funny that you said that. One of my buddies, somebody must have tweeted this, and you guys saw this from him, because my buddy tweeted out something very similar. He goes, "If I had to choose between Giannis and the Greek Freak for shooting a free throw, I'd pick Giannis because at least I'd have longer to say goodbye to my loved ones."
Exactly. That's the thing. Oh my God. I think I probably did see you retweet that. That's probably what it was from. But yeah, I mean, the big thing with Giannis is we've seen not even rim protectors, but we've seen good perimeter defenders shut him down. We saw Kawhi shut him down. We saw Jimmy Butler shut him down. Like, we've seen plenty of people just take Giannis completely out of the equation. And especially if, you guys had a rim protector or just somebody to do that, you would have probably swept them because Drew Holiday's was way off in his shot that whole series.
Of course, he heated up at the end of Game 7, though.
Well, yeah, of course.
Natural.
But even Chris Middleton was pretty good for the most part after his like rough first. I think it was the first game he shot really, really badly. But after that, he played pretty well, but there's no way Chris Middleton is leading a team to a series win if you shut down Giannis.
The thing about Chris Middleton is he's another fraud. And maybe I'm just being angry at the Bucks, but I don't want to sound like Jeff Van Gundy here. They need to stop calling these fouls. And I know James Harden gets a ton of these where you're guarding a guy going over a screen and he stops short and then shoots and they call a shooting foul.
Like, that's the Trae Young special.
Like, that's all Chris Middleton does. Yep. He gets like 12 free throws a game and he's like sweating like profusely. So everyone's like slipping on the ball because this guy generates more sweat than I've ever seen in my life. And he gets to the line like crazy. And I'm like, dude, like, what are you respecting Chris Middleton? Like, he's not Kobe. He's not, Durant. He's Chris Middleton. He averages like 20 a game. If he didn't have Giannis with him, he would be, I don't know, Andrew Wiggins. Like, he'd be like a middle of the road player.
Right.
But I just hated the Bucks. I hated playing. I'm a sort of loser, but that's besides the point. But it was the most annoying series. And don't get me wrong, I had the same reaction when the Nets lost to the Sixers a couple of years ago. I wanted to send Mike Scott to like Germany or something, or Latvia to play, because I was like, I couldn't stand this guy. But no, it's that team is lucky. That team is lucky that the injuries, they're going to win a championship on the injuries that they're running into. Maybe Phoenix beats them, but the Bucks, they're going to be in, hey, good for Giannis. He signed his extension there, but that team ain't good.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I forget which player said it. It was either like Jamal Murray or Devin Booker or one of them from the Western Conference, but they said this year's finals is a matter of who's going to be the healthiest.
Exactly.
That's really all it's going to come down to, especially because, I mean, you've seen almost all of the top seeds have somebody hurt except for like Phoenix and Milwaukee.
Pretty much.
Like, so it's
I'm sorry, continue.
No, I was just going to say, so it's been a little ridiculous, like just seeing so many people go down. And I mean, we'll get to your point real quick. I just wanted to say it was going to be inevitable to have a bunch of people hurt with how condensed the season was, throwing in the play-in tournament and then going right into these playoffs, because I mean, there was really no in between. There was no breaks. There was no rest. And with the league as like athletic and rough as it is, these guys are bound to get hurt. So I know for a fact that next season is going to be better health-wise than it should be this season.
Yeah, I agree with you. It just, it sucks. Like you said, like do the Lakers make it farther if they didn't have to deal with the injuries? Are the Warriors a threat if Clay doesn't go down? Do the Nets win it all if they don't have their teams hurt? Do the Sixers win if what's his name? If Embiid doesn't tear his meniscus? Like, it sucks. It's a part of the game. It does suck, but it's unfortunate.
Yeah,
Not to take away from any team that wins a championship. You're dealing with injuries in every sport, and in
of
every
course.
championship season, there's injuries. But it just sucks to, for a team like the Nets, it sucks because they're built around an older core now. So their window is short. But a team, I don't even want to get into the Sixers. Their whole process has just been the wrong process to begin with. But even with the Nuggets lost Murray, and it's some and the Lakers and the Nets are in the same situation. Like, LeBron's 35, 36 years old. Like, he only has a couple more years left.
Right. Yeah, no. I mean, that's always the risk in building these teams with like the older superstars and everything, is just like, this is your window, and if something happens there, you're kind of SOL. But as you touched on, we'll jump into the Sixers real quick. So obviously they also lost their game 7, except that game 7 was a lot less entertaining than the Nets Bucks game 7. And now the talk of the town is obviously trading Ben Simmons. There's no way he can come back. All this kind of stuff. And just to kind of wrap up the season, I mean, it was definitely, even though we fell short of expectations, I want to say that the Sixers it was definitely like an entertaining season, especially with Embiid that, finished second with them in the MVP voting and everything. And the roster makeup was a hell of a lot better than last season with Al Horford and everybody. And I do have to say that Daryl Morey should just get some kind of award just for making the Seth Curry for Richardson trade.
That was a good ad for you guys.
Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, Seth, above and beyond what anyone would have expected of him. But yeah, when it comes down to it, I mean, Embiid injured again. Honestly, I feel like people have given me flack for this, but I think that the series also would have went differently if Danny Green was healthy the whole time. Even though he got cooked by Trae Young in that first game, having him cover someone like Kevin Huerter in that 7th game instead of Seth Curry, who's much smaller.
You mean Kevon?
Kevon, I've seen his nickname is the Red Velvet.
That's a great nickname.
That I will give him props for that. But having him cover even somebody like that, or even Gallinari, just, having somebody bigger to cover these two guys instead of who they had on them, I think it just changes it up in and of itself. But in the end, it comes down, I think this series loss comes down to 2 people. I think it comes down to Doc Rivers and Ben Simmons. Doc, because he's just such a stubborn coach that thinks like whatever he does, he doesn't need to make adjustments to. He made some minor adjustments. Obviously, the major adjustment was putting Ben Simmons and Matisse on Trae Young more often, which did help. But when it came to the offense, it was just kind of like, okay, run Seth off a bunch of screens, post up Embiid, and that was like the entire offense, with the occasional like, okay, let Tobias do his thing. There was no like, I think it was game 6. They finally said, okay, let's attack the bad defenders in Trae Young and Lou Williams. With whoever we got, we're just going to keep attacking them. And they scored and scored and scored, and they ended up winning the game. And I'm like, why wouldn't you have done this every single game?
Yeah, I mean, well, to be fair, the Sixers shouldn't have lost when they were up 26 in the 3rd quarter.
Oh, not at all.
That right there, I mean, you win that game, you win the series. I saw a tweet yesterday that said first thing Doc Rivers should do this morning is call KG, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce and say thank you, because he made his whole coaching career. They made his whole coaching career. I don't know. I've said to you for years now that Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid won't win a championship together because Joel Embiid is a great player in his own, but when you need a basket, it's very, very hard in the playoffs to go to the big man, and just dump it down. Not to say he can't force his way to the line, not to say he can't get a good look. That's not what I'm saying, but it's a guards game. It's a forwards game. And yeah, Embiid has that skill set where he can shoot and he can put it on the floor, but he's not Giannis putting it on the floor. He's a little slower. He's a few steps slower. And if he had Ben Simmons' quickness, he'd be the best player in the league ever. But he doesn't.
Oh yeah.
But it's hard to go to him. And then you have a guy like Ben Simmons who can't create for himself because he can't shoot. And Tobias Harris is okay at that, but he's not. That's not his role. He's not Jimmy Butler. That was Jimmy Butler's role. And if you had Jimmy Butler instead of Tobias Harris, then I think you had a real legitimate shot of a championship. You don't, and that was the downfall. And I think that's what they're going to have to do is move on from Ben Simmons. I saw CJ McCollum being a guy they would trade for. I saw CJ McCollum was the main guy. Can't remember the other two. D'Lo was one of them. D'Lo would be a great fit with Embiid. And I think I said that like 2 years ago that he'd be a great fit.
I think it was before he went to Minnesota. I think that's when
I don't remember who the other one was. It was some Shai Gilgeous. It wasn't him, but I can't remember.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen a bunch of people tossed around now, like even people saying Andrew Wiggins, and I'm like, all right, I'd rather keep Ben Simmons than get Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, I could see a trade for even Lillard, but he doesn't want to leave Portland. But whatever it is, they're gonna get someone. But you need a guard. You need a guard that could shoot. You need a guy that can get his own shot. I think the team around Embiid is good enough, but you can't have one of your starters who can't hit free throws, can't play the last 5 minutes of a close game because he can't shoot. And like if he was Embiid and Embiid, if he was playing the center role, that's a different story. But he's not. It's just it's not the mix isn't right, and it's going to be their downfall until they get rid of him.
Yeah, and I mean the thing that became a big issue too is like you were just saying about Giannis. He didn't have any moves or anything. He would back up and then just get a full head of steam and go right to the hoop. Even if Ben Simmons just did that in this series against Atlanta, it would have helped. But
there's a problem. Embiid isn't afraid. I'm sorry. Giannis isn't afraid to shoot free throws.
Exactly.
Giannis he might not be a great free throw shooter, but he can make 55%.
Right.
I don't have his percentage in front of me, but I'm sure it's somewhere in that range, 55 to 65%.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons is shooting like 30%. So Ben Simmons does that because he doesn't want to get fouled.
Exactly.
Because he knows if he gets fouled, he's maybe making one out of two, probably 1 out of 4. And he's costing his team points. That's the difference. If Ben Simmons works on his free throws and gets up to even 55% and then plays with the aggressiveness of Giannis, it's a total game changer. He goes from a 13-point-a-game scorer to a 23-point-a-game scorer. Exactly. But
it like on the face of it, it's so simple. I know obviously it's not like, in terms of actually practicing your skill and everything, that's a whole process in and of itself and all that. But on the face of it, like identifying the issues is pretty simple. And I think that for him, especially after this season, I think he just needs to hire a sports psychologist. Like, I think he needs to address some like a good amount of mental issues in there, because not only does it seem like he's just afraid of attacking, he's also afraid of shooting and free throws, but also afraid of, like the big moments now. Like before, there was, I counted at least 5 separate times in that game 7 where in every other game this season in transition, he had the ball at half court. There was 1 or 2 defenders, and he was going to the hoop no matter what, and normally getting an and one. And in that game 7, he pushed forward, stopped at the free throw line, and then looked behind him to see if there was anybody there to give the ball to.
Yeah, I saw that too. I saw him have a dunk and pass it up.
Yeah, he got around. I think it was like Gallinari had a wide open dunk and passed it to a double covered Matisse, who then he did get fouled, but only made 1 of 2 free throws. And that's also what Embiid said in his post-game conference when they asked him what the turning point of the game was. And he was like, he didn't want to specifically say Ben's name, but he was like, I don't know how to put this, but I think the turning point was when we passed up an open layup for 1 free throw. Yeah. And it was true. Like everyone at the game watched that, and like I was in the game and I was up in the top row, and in the top rows, that's where it just gets ridiculous up there. People are usually
that's where the diehard fans are, not the TikTokers sitting courtside.
Exactly. And everyone around me instantly in that moment was like, get Ben the hell out of Philly. And it was just like, after that, I mean, you just look at all the terrible things he did in that series, because then it was like the one game when they first did hack a Ben and he shot 4 of 14 from the free throw line. They said that there hasn't even been a team that missed over 10 free throws in the same game in the playoffs or something like that. And then he set the record for the lowest free throw percentage in a postseason with a minimum of like 70 attempts. He's missed more than like the remaining teams in the playoffs. It's just gotten to a point where it's like there's a lot mentally, I think, that needs to happen. And I was listening to a Sixers podcast, The Rights to Ricky Sanchez, and they said it feels like Ben Simmons turned into Markelle Fultz.
Yeah. Well, Markelle Fultz has kind of reinvented himself. I know he got hurt, a torn ACL, if I'm not correct, if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But he like reinvented himself in Orlando. But yeah, sometimes it's a change of scenery. I mean, I was just looking it up while you were talking. Giannis shot 71% for free throws in the regular season or for his career, and Ben is at like 61%. But clearly, if he shot 61%, Philly fans would be happy.
Exactly.
But he didn't do that in the playoffs, and that's what the problem is. He didn't recreate his regular season in the playoffs, and it was their downfall. And as we've seen in the playoffs, games are decided by 2 points, 3 points, a shoe size.
Yep.
You can't be giving up. If he goes 8 for 14 from the free throw line, great. You can't go 4 for 14.
I mean, if you just make even if you made 50% of your free throws when they started the hack-a-ben, that would have deterred them from even doing it.
Exactly. And it's also time and place. Like there's times where I don't know what would be. Blake Griffin went to the line. Now Blake Griffin used to be an awful free throw shooter. He's gotten a lot better. He's shooting 3 balls now. And it was like, dude, we just need a point. Like we're up 5, we're up 6, we need to go up 7, make a 3-possession game. He misses both. Or we're up 8, we have a chance to go up 10 before the half. He misses both. And then they come down and hit a 3. Instead of being a 10-point game, now it's a 5-point game.
Yep.
Those more than the 4 for 14 that hurts you, it's when he misses those free throws. Now, I didn't sit here and watch every minute of the Sixers game, but I'm sure there's a point where you were down 2 or down 1, and you just came back and you're on an 8-0 run or something. He gets fouled, you miss both. Instead of taking the lead, you miss both. Trae Young comes and hits a 3. Now you're down 4, and it's just deflating.
Yep.
So that goes into it just as much as just the pure numbers of missing free throws. I think his days in Phillies are numbered. Yeah. and the process can officially be thrown into the dumpster because the process is over. You need to start over. Call it something else. Embiid can't stay healthy. Simmons can't hit a free throw. Sam Hinkie or whoever your GM is it Hinkie still?
No, Hinkie was fired a long time ago. It's
Wait.
Daryl Morey.
Oh, Sam Presti. Which one's in Oklahoma City?
Presti.
Okay, I confuse the two of them all the time. Daryl Morey, he'll go back to making his China comments. And you'll have to move on from there. Maybe Ferkman Korkmaz will be the new star in Philly on Broad Street or whatever. I don't know. You're a Philly guy. You know what the main street
Broad Street. Hey, I mean, Korkmaz, I'll give it to him. He's improved greatly since his rookie year. I mean, obviously not any kind of star, but
he's the anti-Zanan Musa. I thought Zanan Musa was going to be our European. You know what the Nets really need? They needed to bring back Mirza Teletovic. We didn't have an Eastern European.
Oh, I forgot about him.
I love Mirza. We didn't have him.
That was a name I completely forgot about until you brought up. But
you guys had Hollis Thompson and who are some other process? Michael Carter Williams and
hell, even if Ben Simmons could give me what Tony Roten gave us.
Oh, and Tony Roten. Well, you had all those guys. We had Tornike Shangila, Alexi Shved.
We had Shved too.
He was just like he was like riding the Atlantic Division carousel. I think he played for them as well. We had Jeremy Lin for one game. Played one game, scored 18 points, one game.
We both had Shamet now.
He didn't even finish the game. Jeremy Lin did not finish the game. He played 3 quarters for the Nets. We had Dwight Howard on the roster for an hour.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
If we would have kept Dwight Howard, we probably would have won the NBA championship. Well, we cap space and everything, but he would have been the rim protector.
He at least could have gotten the rebound, so Brook Lopez didn't.
Yeah, no. Brook Lopez had his revenge series.
But anyway, to wrap that up, I mean, I don't see Simmons staying on the team unless they just no one will offer them anything. Then I really don't see him on the team anymore. And a lot of people say blow it up. I say the only people that I honestly want to keep would be like Embiid, Seth, Maxey, and probably Matisse. Everyone else you can trade them.
You don't want to keep Korkmaz?
I mean, I like Korkmaz, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to just kind of restarting, he is a guy I honestly think that a lot of playoff contenders and championship contenders would want as a 3-and-D kind of guy off the bench. The D part's not great, but
you don't want George Hill?
Oh no, get George Hill the hell off the team. He was another guy that I honestly kept watching and was just like, why are you even on the floor? He literally didn't do anything. He didn't try and shoot. He didn't try and distribute. His defense, I mean, Gallinari just shot over top of him every single time. It was just like, why are you there?
Yeah. Well, I think we both our teams have some interesting off seasons ahead of them.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we're both picking very late in the draft, so that won't really help us unless we take a kid out of Uzbekistan or something that turns into a star, or Ukraine or Azerbaijan or something. I don't know. Sean Marks will find someone.
Oh no, for sure. But so
we're going to be scouting the Tokyo Olympics, looking for the next star.
Exactly. Might as well find someone that Luka's teammates with or something. There's got to be someone else over there.
You're playing the long game. I say you want to get Luka out of Dallas.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Embiid and Porzingis, they have the same issue, except Embiid is a better player.
They're not comparable at all.
I'm just saying they have the same issue in the fact that they get hurt a lot.
Healthy, but Porzingis can't even no. Porzingis doesn't even have a post-up game.
That's true.
Porzingis
That's
is like
true.
the 7'3" version of me. He doesn't stand inside the 3-point.
I will give it to the Knicks. They won that deal.
What did they get out of it again? They got Dennis Smith, who they done moved. They got Kevin Knox, right? Then they get him. Or no.
I think they got that pick that ended up being Kevin Knox.
So they really win that deal, or did they not have to pay Porzingis?
I think they win alone, just not having to pay him.
Hold on, let's look up the trade real quick. It was Porzingis, Tim Hardaway, Trey Burke, and Courtney Lee for Dennis Smith, DeAndre Jordan, and Wesley Matthews.
So none of them are on the team anymore.
No, and I don't know who the picks turned out to be, but
I mean, just so they don't have to pay him, I think the best player out of that trade right now is Tim Hardaway.
Yeah, he kind of reinvented himself a little bit too.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's been great. But so real quick, just to finish it off. Oh, what were you gonna say?
I was trying to see who the picks became. It was a 2021 first round pick. So this year's pick, a 2023 first round pick that's top 10 protected. So neither of the picks actually materialized yet.
Okay. So, but is the pick this year protected or no?
No.
Oh, okay. Just the 2023. Okay. I mean, I guess we'll see who they get then. But to finish it off, the playoffs right now, we still have in the Western Conference Finals, we have Phoenix and the Clippers. And then we have Atlanta versus Milwaukee. What do you see going forward?
Suns in 4.
Both times?
No, I was just like the guy that did the Suns in 4 thing.
Oh, yeah, that guy's great. The fact that Devin Booker got him tickets and everything, that's amazing.
They're currently up 3, but by the time this podcast gets posted, the game will be over. So yeah, anyone listening to our podcast trying to find live updates, don't do that. I think the Suns will win in 6, and I think the Bucks will win in 5.
Okay. And then who do you have in the final then? Phoenix?
Yeah. Oh, no, I have Milwaukee.
Oh, okay. Okay. I definitely have Milwaukee beating Atlanta. And Atlanta, I used to kind of like Atlanta, but now they just annoy
but you hated John Collins.
Oh, I still hate John Collins.
Yeah,
he still put Embiid in a chokehold.
That's why you put him in a headlock. Dunked on him.
I still don't understand how that was a defensive foul, but either way, I especially don't like Atlanta just because it was really hard to just watch Trae Young at times. Not all the time. Trae Young definitely had some. I gotta say, Trae Young has like a top 3 floater, like in the entire league. The other 2 would probably be. I gotta put Chris Paul in there, and then probably Kyrie.
Okay.
But Trae Young's floater is crazy, and the thing that sucks about covering. Well, I think Devin Booker's better at like scoring everywhere else.
Okay.
But the thing that's crazy with Trae Young is the whole you don't know whether he's putting up a floater or he's throwing an alley-oop. And honestly, sometimes he jumps in the air and waits right till he's about to hit the ground and does one or the other. So even then, it's kind of like you're screwed either way.
Yeah. But
I think the Bucks win in probably 6, because I think every time I think Atlanta's not going to do well, they all of a sudden have that like the game 1 against the Sixers when they shoot 70% through 3 quarters. So I think Bucks will win in 6, and then I think the Suns will beat the Clippers in 5.
Okay, so
then I have
the same final we got there a little differently.
Yeah, and then I have Suns winning the finals in 5.
The Charles Barkley list Suns.
Yep.
Wow.
Because I think I think Ayton is the perfect center to protect the rim against Brook and Giannis.
Yeah. Well, you're not really protecting the rim against Brook. You're just trying to out-rebound the guy. But I get what you're saying.
And I got to give it up to my man, Dario Saric.
God.
I mean, Drew Holiday is actually one of my favorite players too. But Dario, and then obviously the draft pick that I will continuously hate Brett Brown for is trading away Mikal Bridges for Zaire Smith.
Well, you know who's on the yeah, that was a bad trade. I don't know why they even made it. Do you know who's on the Suns who I think is the real reason why they might win the championship this year?
Who?
Come on, you know who.
I'm trying to think of who's on the.
Give you a hint. He played in the Final Four.
Played in the Final. Are you talking about Frank the Tank?
There you go. My guy.
I forgot when was it last year you said he was going to be the most improved?
Yeah.
I honestly completely forgot he was still on Phoenix.
Yeah, still on Phoenix. He just got to Phoenix.
Did he just get there this year?
Hold on. Bear with me. He just got there. No, it's the second year in Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
Where he's averaging a whopping. He averaged 6.6 this year and 9.7 last year. Not bad. See, the Nets should have went out and got Frank Kaminsky. He would have at least been able to rebound.
And even shoot a little.
And shoot. There we go. There's our Sean Marks. We need a cheap center who can rebound and shoot. Frank Kaminsky. I'm calling it right now. He's only about 45 days older than me.
And then most improved player of the year.
And then most improved player of the year. Correct.
We just have to end it on that one then.
I'm doubling down on Frank Kaminsky.
Hey, you've doubled down on a lot of good ones. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
So
Nikola Jokic finally won MVP. I've been calling it for years.
Anyone who listens to this, you guys can go back and definitely hear him say that because I will give it to you. You definitely did call that one.
I know. Told you.
But that's it for us. Thanks again, Mike. Obviously, everyone, you will now see Mike back again as the co-host, and we will definitely have some more people on here too. I know Dennis is going to be on here at least a few times again too, so be on the lookout.
Dennis is the get off my lawn kind of guy.
Yes. The perfect addition to this duo. But thank you everyone for listening. Make sure you subscribe. We are everywhere you find your podcast. Also, we ask you to share this episode with one friend. Just get the word out there on everything. Leave some comments, ratings, and reviews. We appreciate it greatly. The Atlantic Files, the #1 podcast on the #1 division in the NBA, brought to you by the Underdog Podcast Network. Make sure you check out all the podcasts on there as well. They are great over there too. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you guys next week. Peace.